thank you all for joining us today. My name's Graham. I am a senior technology consultant here with Pertello, and with me today are Eddie, the director of technology, and Travis, the customer success manager. So a little bit about Pertello. We work with customers across the globe, and we have experts in every industry. And our partnership objective is to help support you and the growth of your business. And what we'll be talking about today, RightInsight, was designed with this in mind. So a quick overview, I'll be going through RightInsight and how to make the most of NetSuite AI with it. Following that, Eddie will give us a live demonstration with examples and use cases. And Travis will be popping in throughout the presentation and also talking about Pertello's AI Advantage program. So let's talk about RightInsight. I think it's really amazing to be in NetSuite and using the report builder and safe search functions. These are all amazing tools. But what if you could ask a question and then get an accurate NetSuite answer, and then pivot and drill into something different with another question in plain English? With RightInsight, you can. You can see on the screen a screenshot of the interface where you can ask, again, a chat in plain English at the top, or a structured search, which in a few minutes, Eddie will be going into. But at its core, you can take complex ideas and translate them into questions and then have them answered with ease. One of my favorite examples of this is maybe I have a list of customers and I want to know, what are they buying? What are the top items that are being sold to these customers? And I want to answer that question. I want to have an in-depth analysis where I can drill into that data. But maybe then I want to zigzag a little bit and I want to know, well, okay, well, who isn't buying these products? And what products are they buying? With RightInsight, the flexibility is limitless and really is my favorite part of what it provides.
Yeah, I like this part, Graham, just from the perspective of being able to ask it questions, moving away from or in addition to using save searches, the report builder reports. Now you can really have a conversation with NetSuite. And to me, in my opinion, it's just an incredible aspect of what we're seeing and now working with going forward. And it's really should be used something for much, much harder than a question like find clients who have done $1 million in business, and make it more complex, like give me a list of our most valuable clients, and have RightInsight utilize it for an efficiency in gathering that information and providing it back to you. So just incredible. And as we have continued to work with our clients up to this point, and in this webinar, Eddie will demonstrate this a little bit more concretely as we're coming up on that next section.
So you might hear a little bit about the term MCP here, and really it's just a fancy word for connecting AI to your NetSuite data directly. So when we found that NetSuite recently released MCP functionality, we were super excited to bring this into RightInsight because we felt like it could really provide a lot of value, which hopefully you get to see in a second. Keeping that in mind, of course, not only did we take kind of a NetSuite first approach to make it as easy as possible to use, but we also leveraged NetSuite's existing roles, permissions, and security model on top.
Yes, let's talk about that. NetSuite, as we know, has an extensive system of roles and permissions to both limit user access to data or to give them a focused view, depending on the role they're assigned and its permissions. So the app will leverage this and enable, like, for example, if you have the role connected that you want to take away vendor access so they don't have the list of vendors, and you ask the app to, hey, give me a list of vendors, it's not going to be able to directly obtain that list. So again, extending that NetSuite traditional roles and permissions system and setup. There's some other features that the app has too. For example, data retention. So if you want to decide and you're in control with how your data is managed on the app. So you want to set up a policy that will delete your existing threads and your current, analysis or analysis from the past, right? And you want that to go away in 30 days, you can. So the app comes with both leveraging roles and permissions and also some other features for enhanced security. And now Eddie's going to be giving us a demonstration here, so I'll stop sharing, Eddie.
So this is the RightInsight interface. Once you finish our 10-minute setup and install process where we kind of walk you through step by step, you end up here. So we have two components of this screen. The top is going to be kind of for an unstructured chat. You can talk about your data. It has access to your NetSuite data, and you can ask kind of focused questions, quick or complex questions, but you don't need a focused data set, right? You're just going to talk to it and it'll find the data it needs. If you want to take a more focused approach, we do also have the ability to pull from any saved search in the system. And this will allow you to really focus in on a specific data set and know where that data is coming from, but also exactly what data the AI has access to. So this allows you to kind of focus down and narrow that scope a little bit, which is one of the many ways we've been able to increase the accuracy in our AI models. So to begin with, I'm going to start with kind of the unstructured approach. And let's focus on income statements. So I'm going to say run an income statement report. I'm going to ask it to compare 2025 to 2024. And I'm going to say my fiscal year starts in January. And finally, I'll say show me in a table. So I'm going to go ahead and run that. And it's going to start a new chat conversation thread. And you can see my query came in here. And in just a moment, the AI is going to run that report. There it is. So it ran that report and it compared 2025, 2024 income statements. And then here's kind of our high level accounts and summaries. So this is great. But let's say I decided I really want to dive more into specifically 2025. And let's say I want to see 2025 by quarter. Go ahead and send that. And so now it's going to do that same thing. It's going to understand that it needs to run the report by quarter, and then it's going to compare that. So after a few moments, it comes back, and here we are. So we have same accounts, except now it's broken down by quarter in 2025. And we can also see our totals. So again, this is useful, but let's say I want to find anomalies or something that's unusual in this data. So I can ask it a focused question. This one, actually going to copy and paste. So I'm going to say, are there any anomalies here I should take a closer look at? Bold those cells and provide a brief description and report underneath the table. I'm going to go ahead and send that. And that one came back pretty quickly because it knows it already has the data. It doesn't need to run the report again. So it's going to analyze this data that it pulled before. And you can see that it bolded these two cells. And if we look at those more closely, we can see that those are definitely outliers. We have 1.6, 1.9, 2.2 million, and then less than 500,000. And same here, we've got 500,000 or above, and then a sudden drop all the way down to 65,000. So it did highlight those two anomalies. And it went on to kind of explain some potential causes and also kind of went more into depth on why those could be a concern. So Q1 to Q3, our cost of sales averaged 59% of our income, but in Q4, this dropped drastically to just 17% of our income. So it talks about some potential causes, and then it also highlights that other anomaly it found. So recorded expenses were only 65,000, and it's saying that that omission, since this is abnormally low, is likely inflating our Q4 net income number. So that's an example of kind of running an income statement. I'm going to make a new chat, and I also want to run through by customer. So let's say I identify my top 5 customers by revenue in 2025. And again, I'll have it show me in a table. Zoom bar is in the way. Perfect. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and send that. And so it has 2 ways of processing this. It can either create a search kind of on demand. It also has access to native reports, and one of those reports is going to be sales by customer. And there it is. So based on sales by customer report, so we can see it did use the report to find it in this case for 2025. Here's our top 5 customers by revenue. And here they are listed. We have them all out here. And let's say Abbott is exactly who I was looking for. I want to contact them. So I'm just going to go ahead and ask it to provide the email and phone number for Abbott. And I'm going to go ahead and press send. And this time it's probably going to run a search. And it's going to come back and say the email for Abbott is that, and there's our phone number. And if I'm curious on how it found that data, I can click on Show Thoughts. And so I can see here it did build a custom search and it got the email and phone number back. It's not just limited to reading data. You can also have it create records, for instance, sales orders. So I'm going to show an example of that. And first, I need to just get a customer from the system because I don't actually not familiar with this demo system too much. So I'm just going to say, give me 5 customer names. I'll say that are present, right? Present in the system. And I'm going to go ahead and send that. All right, and it came back. 5 customers present in the system. I'm just going to pick whole markets. That one's easier to remember. Oh, and then of course, to sell something, we're also going to need to know an item, right? So let's do the same thing. Give me a list of 5 items that I sell. So I'm going to send that one. Once again, it came back. We can show thoughts again and see that it's basically just running a search over items and it's limiting it to 5 results. So here's 5 items. I'm going to pick this medical workstation. I'm going to pop that in over here and I'm going to paste. So I'm going to ask, say, Cole Markets wants to buy 2 of that medical workstation item. And I'm going to ask it to go ahead and create a sales order. So I'm going to press send. If you do have questions afterwards, of course, you're more than welcome to contact us. Our contact info will be at the end. Oh, and so we can see it did come back. So it has created a sales order, SO2524 for whole markets, and it's included 2 units of that medical workstation item. And it gave us a warning. So it looks like that medical workstation, I did just kind of pick a random item. So there was no price defined in that system. So it just set a rate of 1,000 per unit. And it's saying you may need to adjust this. I will need to adjust that. I'm going to do that in a second, though. For now, I know I'm going to call them because they said when to confirm the order once it's in the system. So I'm going to ask for the email address and phone number for whole markets. I'm going to go ahead and send that. Okay, and then it got me the contact info for whole markets. So I have their email address here as well as their phone number. And then now that I've got that, I'm going to say, can you update cab? Can you update the rate per unit to be 2,500? Because I know I'm going to need to change that price. So I'm going to go ahead and send that. All right. There it is. So it says it successfully updated the rate to 2,500 per unit on that sales order, and the total amount will now be 5,000 total. So let's actually go ahead, and I have NetSuite pulled up on another screen, and I'm going to pull it over to the one you can see. Okay. So this is the sales order I created, SO2524. We've got attributed to customer whole markets as expected. And you can see here that the total is 5,000. So it did process that update. And if we look at the item is that medical workstation as expected. We've got two of them on back order, and the rate is 2,500. So it was successful in creating that order. One other thing I did want to show is this focused data set approach. So here I'm going to pick a sales saved search that we made that shows the GL impacting sales. And I'm just going to say summarize the financial performance shown in this data and click analyze. For the sake of time, so I do see that we're running a little behind. I'm going to show one that I created right before this call. And same search, same question. So we can see that it's summarizing that the company experienced extraordinary financial performance in 2025. And it's also looked at that search and it's gone ahead and made a graph. We can hover over it and see the exact values month by month of our 2025 financial performance. And in addition to a graph, it's also going to break this down into something we call actionable insights. So each actionable insight has an observation, an implication, and a recommendation, as well as, of course, a priority. So it explains that we've had explosive growth in 2025. We can certainly see that from the graph. Um, and it's saying that obviously we have successful market penetration to be able to have that growth and a positive shift in our financial standing. So let's figure out why that exponential growth is happening so that we can keep it happening. Talks about our strong months as well as some kind of additional outstanding performance. Does mention that we have concentration of high performance in the later quarters. So we either had a good end of year initiative, or we could have a cyclical business. And the other thing it noticed is that we're relying on high value customer transactions. So while our financial standing is good and our explosive growth is good, we might be over reliant on a few of our key customers. And it even calls out some of those here. So now that I have these customers, right, a follow-up question could be give me their phone numbers and emails, and then I send that to kind of a VIP list in the system, et cetera. Help me be a little bit more proactive rather than always reactive to situations. These follow-up questions on the reports work exactly the same as the chat. You have MCP support. You can create orders and run ad hoc searches, things like that. And I can also share this. So if I wanted to share this report to someone else on my team, I could just toggle this, share with company. It's now going to be shared with my RightInsight users, and I could just send them the link. So that concludes the hands-on portion of the demo. I'm going to go ahead and switch back to the slides. So all of the features you saw today in our demo are going to be released as an update later today. You can sign up for RightInsight right now. QR code is there, and everything comes with a 30-day free trial. So there's no risk as long as you cancel within those 30 days. You don't need to pay anything, and you can get started and try it. And of course, we would also love your feedback. Meant to show it in the demo, but in the bottom right of almost every page, there's a little chat icon. And that's actually a feedback icon. So if you do try it, please check that icon and send any info or feedback, and we look at that all the time and are ready to add more and more features to this. I will say, as we get kind of closer to the closing, we are, of course, a full service NetSuite consulting company. So we do have plenty of AI experts, not only in RightInsight and the MCP that we discussed thoroughly today, but all things NetSuite. So what we see a lot of our clients starting to use more and more, in addition, of course, to the MCP feature that we talked today, is intelligent recommendations and text enhance. So intelligent recommendations can help you get better items, and text enhance can automatically write item sales descriptions, things like that. So happy to help in any and all ways that you need. And I'll let Travis talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah, thanks, Eddie. And I will say this because we've encountered customers who are at a level of just coming into AI and understanding AI. There is an opportunity here for your organization to work directly with Portillo by participating in Portillo's AI Advantage program. Your current understanding may be limited with AI and what it can do to be used and leveraged within your system. You also might have an extensive background with AI. These are the levels that would apply to really anybody if you're just starting out at the foundation all the way to that professional level. If you look at some of these bullet points, like under foundation, right, just helping, and this is where we've been in the last year with clients, is just helping them understand that foundational level understanding of AI, using AI, how it applies to NetSuite in that growth area, really getting in and helping clients use RightInsight and adjusting and adapting that environment for them to use more efficiently. And then when you get into this professional area, what I think is really just another incredible aspect of the MCP functionality of RightInsight is where it's capable of drawing in information from other records. And like if you have a saved search, you only can go so many levels deep to downstream and upstream records. And you're asking NetSuite here using RightInsight to dig further into and drawing off of those other records beyond that, and asking for confirmation of data. You can use it, for instance, in forms that may be filled out from your clients, to ask it to do the work to find missing information or misinformation, automatically sending out an email response to your clients, asking them to recomplete or add that additional information that you're looking. All of that is just to augment what you already are doing, but it's doing it in a more efficient manner, meaning you're allowing other end users who are using the system for other areas of NetSuite that you've wanted to focus on. So it's very powerful, and we're here to be able to help you do that. Reach out to us in this following on this slide, in this ending slide here, as we end our webinar for today. Thank you for attending. Reach directly out to us at any time, and we can help you get up and running whatever level it is that you want to start with using AI and RightInsights. Thank you, everybody. We appreciate it. Thanks for joining us today, and we'll talk to you soon.